Okay, so on the opposite side, I decided to break these into two videos just not to confuse you. Opposite side of your sheet, we're going to see that everything in an ecosystem has to start with our main energy source for life, which is our sun. Not a real big surprise there. So everything starts energy-wise with the sun, and the main organism that requires that sun is going to be plants. So here's our plants. Plants have a specific term in an ecosystem. Their niche, so I'm using the term from the previous video, their niche is to be an autotroph or a producer. Odds are you probably saw the word producer before, maybe not necessarily autotroph, so we're kind of stepping it up in this course and using that word, but they are interchangeable. All this means is that they're able to take sunlight, convert that energy into food. So they make their own food. That's all that means. They don't rely on other living things for food because they make their own. So if we were plants, we wouldn't consume things. We would just go outside in the sun and eventually be full. All right, so main source of energy is the sun. Autotrophs, so up at the top of your sheet, autotrophs make their own food. That's one type of organism. The other type of organism is a heterotroph. Heterotrophs then have to obtain energy by consuming other organisms. That is their role. So in the upper right-hand portion of your sheet, you're defining both autotrophs and heterotrophs there. You're also then further defining them on the lower part of your sheet. You'll see I've got autotrophs, I got the plants, and little plant saying I make my own food on the left side, and then the dog on the right side saying I rely on others for food. So they're having you put in the definition of producers on the left, where they make their own food. Examples would be plants. On the right side, which is what we're now focused on your note sheet, are heterotrophs. Heterotrophs then eat other organisms for their energy, just like Pac-Man eats the ghosts to get points and to get energy. Same idea, heterotroph and consumer are interchangeable. It's possible you learned both or one in your previous science courses. So there are 5 different types of heterotrophs. There's herbivores. This should be a nice healthy review for everybody. Herbivores, examples, deer, caterpillar, cattle. They're getting energy by eating only the plants. Plants only, herbivores. And then carnivores is your second type of consumer. They're getting energy by eating only animals. And here's some examples down here. The same examples that you see on your sheet. I'm going to cruise through this because this is shouldn't be anything new or surprising. Omnivores then are your animal that can eat both plants and animals in order to survive. And now we're getting into what might be some new information. Detrivores is a type of consumer. They get energy by eating plant and animal remains and other dead matter. So they're a type of decomposer. They're like a little tiny branch of decomposer that is often forgotten. So eyelash mites, dust mites, which we'll see right here, snails, they're eating animal, plant, and decaying stuff. And that's where they get their energy from. Decomposers are breaking down plant and animal remains through decomposition. So they're kind of having a different role. So these guys are getting energy by eating this stuff, whereas decomposers are just breaking it down to get energy through the steps of decomposition. So they're actually doing decomposition. Detrivores are not doing decomposition. They're just classified under decomposers. I know, it's a little funky. Some examples of decomposers are bacteria and fungi. And this is your last category for heterotrophs. So decomposers and detrivores are the two that tend to get the most confused. Just be very careful when you're reading the language. One is obtaining energy through the process of decomposition. The other is simply eating plant and animal remains to get energy, not through decomposition. All right, that is your overview of ecology. You can now move on to your next activity in Google Classroom.